Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular session of the Newton County Board of Education. I call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Please join me for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge to the flag. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. So we do not have special recognition tonight. However, we do have public participation. Mrs. Coggin, located at the end of the table here, is going to read the rules for public participation. We ask that you come to the podium to my right for your public participation. Thank you.
Public participation is the time that the board has set aside to encourage you as members of our community to voice your opinion on any matter, either included on or excluded from the printed agenda. A maximum time of 5 minutes will be allotted to a single individual or a single topic based on the number of requests. Complaints against any employee of the school system will not be heard unless the complaint has been submitted in writing to the superintendent at least 7 days prior to the board meeting. If unresolved, any personal complaints about the school personnel must be put in writing for the board to review in executive session. Personal attacks against any member of the board will not be tolerated. Once the time for public participation has passed, discussion of topics will be restricted to board members only. Thank you in advance for complying with this request. We have Mr. Russ Whitaker.
A little upset I'm the only one doing this. And I apologize to some of you if it's remedial. I'm working off the same notes I was, but I'm going to wing it. I actually have a personal history with Fickwood. I went there for my elementary school education. I'm a single father. I have 2 jobs, and I have half custody of my daughter Lillian. It was very special to me that she attended school here because of my connection to it and because of my connection to the band leader, Miss Webb, whose mother taught me music when I was a kid at my church. That was all brought to a screeching halt 4 days before Christmas as my daughter was expelled along with countless others for not completing the guidelines of her contract. I find the contracts to be a little hard to manage in this post-COVID age for these kids. Everybody's having to work extra, and it really makes the volunteer hours a strain. The grades, my daughter didn't have the grades this year. She's not been in a good place. She's had a tough couple years, and she has been to her guidance counselor twice of her own accord this year. I find it heartless that there's no consideration of what these kids have been through. In all of our educations here, we had uninterrupted school. We didn't have a year at home with no social life. And the fact that we're trying to uphold these same guidelines that we had before is intolerant of what the world has gone through. Everybody has experienced loss and pain in these last 3 years, my daughter included. To be handed a letter that told her of this, that forced an emotional vulnerability in front of all her peers, is unforgivable to me. And I have to wonder how many kids were involved and how many families were involved. What about the kids with parents who potentially would punish them throughout the whole Christmas holiday? I can't even think of that. The fact that there's no appeal process, no consideration of extenuating circumstances, and zero tolerance on this policy has to change. If my words do anything here, I hope that it fashions new policy that never allows this to happen to kids again. The way it went down is inexcusable. My daughter being forced to an emotional reaction in front of all her peers and having to say goodbye to them before Christmas is inexcusable to me, and that's why I am here. As I said, I'm a little upset I'm the only one telling a story about it because I know of other families that were hurt by this. I'm not sure where to go from here. It seems like I'm alone in this, so I guess all I can do is thank you for your time. Hope that you've heard my words and that they've sunk in, and that this will change some policy in the future that will never allow kids to be sent out of school crying en masse. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker, for coming forward and expressing your concerns. As stated in there, the board, once time has passed, we don't respond on the floor. However, if there's anything that the executive leadership team feels they need to reach out to you about, they will use the contact information you have supplied to us. So thank you again for bringing your concerns forward. Okay, is that it for public participation? The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. 4-0. The next item is approval of the minutes. I need a motion to, let me make sure the right minutes are here. Both are there. So I need a motion to approve the minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. I'll do the second as AB, Anderson Bailey. Okay? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Superintendent's reports.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Education, Madam Superintendent. The superintendent's reports are unchanged and ready for board action this evening.
Okay? So Dr. Barr is presenting the superintendent's reports. There are no changes from last week. For those that are visiting with us tonight, last week was our work session. So this is why it's the regular session. So last week, we went through each item, and we discussed the items if we had any question there. So all of these items are coming back forward to us for a vote in case we fly right through this. So know that last week was the work session where we have dialogue, and then the second meeting is always the regular session. So we've already discussed these items. We had a week to ask other questions if need be, and now we're just voting yes or no to them. So there are no changes to the superintendent's report. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Any discussion or additional questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay, 4-0, thank you. There's no old business, now we have new business.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. In item A, the superintendent recommends that in the transition of Newton County Theme School from a parental involvement theme to science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, additional staff be approved to meet the school expansion needs as well as the requirements of the implementation of the STEAM school for the 2023-2024 school year. As background, at the request of teachers, leaders, parents, the program will transition from the parental involvement theme to the STEAM theme as they relocate to the renovated former Eastside High School building at the start of the 23-24 school year. The Newton County Theme School is an established school and will continue to follow its current procedures as the transition to the new program emphasis and location is made. The relocation to the newly renovated former Eastside High School will also allow for the growth there at that school. Since the opening of the theme school, the STEM Institute at Newton College and Career Academy was implemented. The opportunity to transition the theme school to a STEAM focus enables the district to build a cohesive K-12 program of study. Additional required staff will include up to 2 kindergarten teachers, 2 sixth-grade teachers, and 1 teacher in the following areas: the arts, agriculture, and engineering. The addition of the grade-level teachers will reflect application and enrollment trends, and the expansion of the school from the current enrollment to projected enrollment is reflected there in the chart for your review. And that is item A, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barr. Item A, I need a motion to move it forward, please.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Trey Bailey. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Anderson Bailey. Floor is now open for discussion or questions. Anybody have any discussion, questions? Okay, having none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Let me hear you say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 4-0, thank you. Dr. Barr?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, items B through G are unchanged, as they were discussed, as you mentioned, at the work session last Tuesday, and those items are ready for board action this evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Barr. B through G have no changes from last week. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, we take B through G as a slate.
Okay, Mr. Trey Bailey wants to take B through G as a slate. Is there a second? Okay, second by Abigail Morgan Coggan. Okay, any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 4-0, thank you. Item H,
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, on item H, the superintendent recommends the approval of personnel matters as discussed in executive session.
thank you so kindly. May I have a motion for item H, please? Okay, been moved in second to my right here. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, thank you. Item I,
And item I, the superintendent recommends a proposed calendar of meeting dates for the Newton County Board of Education for January 2023 through January 2024 be approved. And that is item H, item I, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you. Item I, may I have a motion to move it forward?
Second.
Okay, been moved in second. No changes, everyone is good on dates, correct?
Just for clarity, the July date,
18th.
18th.
Yes,
All right.
July 18th.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 4-0, thank you.
And item J, the superintendent recommends the board appoint members to serve as the Georgia School Boards Association delegate and alternate delegate.
Okay. We have item J. What is the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that for item J, the GSBA delegate be Mrs. Coggan and the GSB alternate be Mrs. Henderson Baker.
Okay. All right, so we have Coggan as first, Henderson Baker as second for delegates. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Ironically, the two of them second. Y'all have our name in there. No, I'm just playing. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0, thank you. All right, next item is item K.
Item K, the superintendent recommends the board appoint a board member to represent and share the board's legislative priorities. Item
Okay,
K.
very good. Item K is for legislative liaison. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that Trey Bailey serve as our legislative liaison.
Okay, I agree with that. So I'll second. All right, so I will call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. All right, gonna have a busy legislative session,
I'm
Mr.
ready.
Bailey.
I'm ready.
Okay, very good. Item L,
And item L, the superintendent recommends the board elect a board member to serve as chairperson and a board member to serve as vice chairperson, both of whom will serve through the board's regularly scheduled January 2024, and that is item L.
okay. Item L, what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion that for board chair, Ms. Henderson Baker retain that seat, and vice chair, Ms. Coggan.
Okay. All right, so board chair will remain the same and vice chair will remain the same as well. Is there a second?
Second.
You were quick.
He didn't want his name to get thrown in there.
All right, I'll call for the question. Ms. Coggan, you good with that? Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, 4-0. We're at other matters of interest.
Just say.
Oh, I will. Thank you, Mrs. Coggan. So Mr. Johnson is not present tonight he had a medical appointment. So he had to get some things taken care of, so that is why he's not with us tonight. However, if he didn't have that appointment, he would be here. In
Yes.
fact, he said if his appointment was finished, he was on his way. But he didn't get a chance to make it with us. So just wanted to let you guys know where he was tonight. Okay, any other matters of interest?
I'd just like to, thank the superintendent on the job they did on the other night with the weather and staying at the Indian Creek with the kids and making sure they got home and, having something to eat and all that. And, we was all checking in on it. And she did a good job. They all did a good job. And then kudos to everybody who worked Clements as well and all the middle schools.
Yes.
That was my other matters of interest. So, thank you, Mr. Bailey, but it was more to celebrate the team that was out there from the school staff, Mr. Principal Chappell and his team who stayed into the late hours to Dr. Barr, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Buff from Newton High School came. Gosh, I, at the risk of leaving people out, Craig Dinn, Corey Craver, there was an entire host of school system staff there to ensure that our kids were well taken care of. We had the support of the sheriff's department, our transportation team, Keisa Vincent was present and making sure that the buses were able to get back to the school safely, to our PTO parents at Indian Creek who reached out, and I think ultimately a church wound up purchasing pizzas for the students at the school and for the staff as well. You always run the risk of leaving people out, so if I did, charge it to my head and not my heart, because there were a lot of staff members there making sure that our kids were shepherded to safety and also taken care of. And parents were incredible as they came in, and they were really in tough situations. And, having the kids at the end of the evening being escorted by the sheriff's department to their homes was really a sight to behold. And so we're thankful that everyone was safe and that our families are slowly but surely recovering and members of our community. And, ultimately, our goal is to ensure the safety and well-being of our students, and I think we did a great job with that. And also here at the board office, Sherry was here. We had hearings going on, and we were able to lock this building down and get everybody in here and protect the people who are in this building as well. So thank you to the entire team for their efforts. It was a job well done.
I was going to add on to that, so Mr. Bailey beat me to it as well. So I think, too, a lot of times the community does not realize how much goes into making that call and the logistics involved, because a lot of people were like, well, you could have just released them early, and it's not as simple, because you have to make sure the parents are at home to receive the kids that you're going to release early. And I don't think people really think about that, as well as we have a staggered schedule because some of our bus drivers drive double routes. So that's the other thing the community does not think about. So kudos to you all for making the call and doing what you did, and keeping the kids there to keep them safe. Some of them, when they went to their home wasn't the same way they left it.
Right.
So had we released them, we may have a different story on our hands.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for always making tough decisions and being willing to stay and assist as well.
Yes.
So.
And I forgot Scott Rains. I need to mention Scott. He patrolled the streets, making sure that we were safe and that the roads were clearing, and he kind of led the way with that as well, making sure our buildings were in good shape. And it was just a team effort, and I know I'm going to forget somebody, so I apologize in advance, but proud of everyone.
Okay. Any other matters of interest? Okay. Having none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor? Okay, 4-0, meeting adjourned, 7:19 PM.
Thank you.